Okay, let's talk about money. For so many of us, it's this huge source of stress and confusion and, yeah, sometimes some pretty wild decisions. But what if I told you that a lot of our financial habits, they're not really about spreadsheets and budgets at all? Today, we're going to dive deep into the hidden psychology behind why we stress, spend, and save the way we do.
It's a question pretty much everyone has asked themselves, right? I mean, whether it's trying to save for retirement, pay down some debt, or just make it to the end of the month, that pressure can feel absolutely massive. And it turns out, this stress isn't just in our heads. Oh no, it has a real, measurable impact on our lives, especially at work.
Get a load of this number, 37%. That's the percentage of financially stressed employees who spend 3 or more hours at work every single week just dealing with their personal finance issues. Think about that. That is a huge chunk of time and mental energy that's just gone.
So this widespread distraction, it's really just a symptom of a much, much deeper problem. To really get it, we first have to zoom out and look at the bigger financial picture for a lot of people today.
You'd think, after a long stretch of economic growth, that most people would be feeling pretty secure, right? Well, the data says something completely different. For a staggering 1 in 3 adults, it feels like they're just treading water financially. And this vulnerability, this is the backdrop for all that stress we see spilling over into the workplace.
And what's really interesting is that this stress looks different depending on how much you make. For families earning less than $40,000 a year, the worries are immediate. We're talking paying bills, rent, getting groceries. Now, as income goes up, those day-to-day concerns start to fade a bit, and the focus shifts to longer-term goals like retirement. So here's the key takeaway. Everybody worries, but we all worry differently.
And listen, those worries don't just magically disappear the second you clock in for work. They follow you. This constant financial pressure, it hits everything. Your focus, your morale, and even your physical health. It's a perfect example of how our personal finances have a very public impact. So, if the problem is this widespread, it can't just be about individuals being bad with money, right? There has to be something else going on. Something deep inside our own minds that makes all this money stuff so incredibly hard to manage.
And this brings us to the mechanism behind it all. It turns out our brains have their own, often totally illogical accounting systems. Behavioral economists have a name for this, and honestly, it explains so much about our seemingly irrational money habits.
It's called mental accounting, and the idea is pretty simple. Even though a dollar is a dollar, our brain doesn't treat all money the same. We create these invisible buckets, these mental accounts, for our money depending on where we got it or what we think we're going to do with it.
Just think about it. If you found a $100 bill on the street, what's the first thing you'd want to do? For a lot of us, we'd see it as found money, a windfall. Perfect for a fancy dinner or something fun. But you'd probably never take that exact same $100 out of your savings account, your car money, for the same reason. That right there is mental accounting in action.
Our brains love to sort money into these simple emotional buckets. You've got your happy money, like a gift or a bonus that just feels so easy to spend on fun stuff. And then you've got unhappy money, our regular paycheck, which our brain is already earmarked for serious things like rent and bills. This internal labeling system has a huge influence on our spending, and most of the time, we don't even realize it's happening.
So, okay, we know how our brain does this, but that just leads to a much deeper question. Why? Why do we even have these built-in biases? Well, to find that answer, we need to dig a little deeper and look at a blueprint that was created long before we ever even had a bank account.
Believe it or not, our relationship with money actually begins in childhood. The lessons we learn, or maybe the lessons we don't learn, and the experiences we have, they all create this kind of money script that we end up following for the rest of our lives.
Psychologists have a term for some of these powerful early events. They're called adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs for short. And basically, these are deeply stressful or even traumatic events that can happen when we're young, and they can have a really powerful, long-lasting impact on our well-being.
And as this quote really highlights, these early experiences, they don't just fade away. They actually help shape our mental and physical health, our relationships, and, you guessed it, even our financial behaviors as adults. One of the main ways ACEs affect us is by shaping what's called our attachment style. So a child who feels safe and supported tends to develop a secure attachment. But traumatic experiences can lead to insecure styles, like anxious attachment, where you desperately want connection, but you're also afraid of it. Or avoidant attachment, where you push people away just to feel safe. And here is the big connection. Those exact same attachment styles that guide our personal relationships, they also influence our relationship with money. An insecure attachment style that formed in childhood can lead directly to unhealthy financial beliefs and behaviors when you're an adult. Things like impulsive spending to fill an emotional void, or maybe hoarding money out of a deep-seated fear.
So, wow, we've gone from the symptom of money stress at work to the mechanism of mental accounting, all the way down to the blueprint from our childhood. Just understanding this entire chain, that's the first and most important step toward building a healthier financial future. And the goal here is something called financial wellness. It's not just about being rich. According to the Consumer Finance Protection Board, it's really about 4 key things: having control over your day-to-day finances, being able to handle a surprise expense, feeling like you're on track with your goals, and finally, having the freedom to make choices that let you enjoy life. And the good news is, because they're recognizing the deep impact of all this financial stress, a lot of employers are starting to step up. They're offering programs that go way beyond just a simple retirement plan. We're talking about real support, from one-on-one coaching to tools that help you manage debt and build up savings. It's a really powerful acknowledgement that financial health is a critical part of our overall well-being. Ultimately, understanding our own financial psychology is so empowering. It helps us see that our money habits aren't just random. They're part of a story that started a long, long time ago. But the great thing about stories is that we have the power to write the next chapter. So the real question is, what will yours be?